Hey, it's Dr. Ron here from the Mental Health Gym and Rejuvenating University, and I'm starting off the week with the question, what if you assumed that everybody that you come in contact with really has good intent? That even if they don't come across that way, that they're really not in a conspiracy to harm you, to do negative things to you, to not treat you well, and so on. I know in the course of the day and the week and so on, you'll run into a lot of people who are very nice, super nice, because for many of them, they may be in service professions or jobs where that's really their role. But sometimes that isn't the case. And I wonder if you could just stop and ask yourself, what if this person really wants to do good, but is under pressure to produce so many things in so little time, to wait on so many tables without any particular help, to produce uh, a certain amount or a certain number of phone calls during the course of the day so that they are getting off the phone or trying to get off rather than being responsive to you. One of the things that I found over time is that if we assume good intent in the other person, if we try and put ourselves in the other person's shoes and react that way, very often, not always, but very often, you will get a better response than if you just escalate from the negative response that you're getting from the other. Most people don't take jobs or don't get married or don't get into relationships in order to harm the other person, in order to put down the other person. But they bring in their background, they bring in uh, their experiences, and they bring in the pressures of the day. Now, some of them also bring in some pretty lousy personalities and some issues that uh, make them fairly unenjoyable to be with. But I found that's not necessarily true with most of them. And sometimes you can find that you can have good discussions with political enemies, you can have good interactions with harassed servers, you can get better service by assuming good intent on the person, even though you may have experienced her or him reacting poorly to the person who was in line just before you. It's kind of a tricky thing to do because, all of us like to be treated well, and if we're not, then it's easy to put the blame on the other person. But if we try it, you'll be surprised. Once in a while, uh, maybe more often than once in a while, you'll be able to de escalate the situation into something that's really nice. And sometimes we don't have to look any further than ourselves. How are we coming across? What's the expression on our face? What's the tone of our voice? And how is that reflecting pressure that we're under? Are we entering a phone call where we're asking for a refund by assuming we're not going to get it? Are we operating in a situation where we assume that somebody who's complaining just wants to complain rather than getting satisfaction? You know, check out our own behaviors and also assume good intent on the part of the other. It'll be disproven sometime, but I think you'll be surprised at how often good intent is really there and really appreciated when it's picked up by the other person. Give it some thought. More than that, try it and see what happens. And of course, I'm always happy to hear from you in your comments and any suggestions as to how to handle this issue even more effectively. Take care. Until next time, this has been Dr. Ron Kaiser, and looking forward to seeing you next time as well as on the Mental Health Gym.